Hey, what's up guys? This is Technical Tim here, and I want to thank everyone so much who's been liking all my videos and subscribing to the channel. And I just want to say if I get 50 likes, I'll go live on Saturday, and on any of my videos this week. If I get 50 likes, I'll go live and give away all my picks. But this is for UFC Rochester, the Lee Dos Anjos card, and I'm going to be talking about just one fight on this video because it's a fight I plan on playing. And I have a lot to say about it, so I just kind of wanted to focus one video on this, but it's Trizano and Dawson, and I'm confident in this fight, and I'm playing Mike Trizano here. I'll probably play him a couple units, just like moderate play, and I'll kind of go to the reasons as to why. So the first thing I'm going to focus on is like the path to victory that Dawson needs to win this fight. And if you don't know Grant Dawson, he's kind of a newer guy. He fought a Rosa last fight. He's coming from the Contender Series. A lot of his regional fights, all these fights were kind of like, he was going against pretty bad competition, but you kind of got to see a lot of his game in his last couple fights, especially against a Rosa. And he's pretty much a green striker who likes to take you down and kind of posture up and throw ground and pound. He can get a submission here and there, but I think most of his submissions are a product of his competition not being that great and not actually like being that great of a submission artist. He's green though. He's young. He can improve. I'm just saying at this stage of his development, I don't think he's like some crazy submission artist. But he's pretty much a take you down, grind you out, get a lot of takedowns, get some top time, and posture up and land some blows. But I think pretty much what he needs to do to win this fight is to get takedowns and top position. And there's a few reasons as to why I think, because first of all, that's really his only path in my opinion. Could he land like some flash knockout or some kind of random submission? Yeah, finishes can always happen in MMA, so that's possible. But I think he's not going to outstrike Trizano. He's just not going to, and I'll get into that. But he pretty much needs top time. That's the way I see it, or else I don't think he's going to win this fight. And I do think he can get some takedowns here and there, like just because he's persistent with them, and we've seen Trizano taken down in other fights, but Trizano has good get-ups, and there's reasons as to why I don't think Dawson's going to be able to hold him down all that much. The first reason is, from the takedown defense point of view, Dawson shoots with his arms wide out. And if you watch Julian Erosa, if someone shoots with their arms wide out, like a double leg or a single leg that way, it gives the opponent, like Erosa, opportunity. And Arosa's not even that good of a takedown defense guy, but he was even able to stuff takedowns at times. It gives them an opportunity just to catch easy underhooks, and we've seen Mike Trizano dig underhooks in almost all of his fights well. He's done it against Pena, Gunther. Gunther got a little bit of top time on him, but not much. But because of the wide entry of Dawson's takedowns, I think Trizano it's just gonna give him easy underhook fishing opportunities. So that's one thing I saw. Also, Trizano has good balance, and he has a good whizzer on a single leg. That's kind of the other takedown Dawson likes to do, is a single leg. He's good at having a leg up in the air and having a whizzer and posting on the head to get that leg free. So I think he'll be good there. Like, I think he'll get taken down a couple times in this fight. I just don't think it's gonna happen at a huge clip. Like, Dawson likes to shoot a lot, and I think a lot of takedowns are going to get stuffed here because of the reasons I'm saying. So that's kind of the takedown defense that I saw. He shoots the little intricacies. Dawson shoots wide, so I think Trizano's just going to be fishing for underhooks, and he's just got good balance on single legs and a good whizzer and post off the head. Another thing is we've seen Trizano kind of taken down at times and controlled a little bit versus Gunther in the type of way that Dawson might be able to do, as far as kind of taking him down and just laying in his guard a little bit. But Trizano generally doesn't accept guard. He'll work to his feet or fish an underhook. Like, he has a lot of ways to get up, and he can also throw up submissions too and start a scramble from there. I've seen it against Pena. I've seen it against Giannetti. I've seen it countless times. So I just see a lot of get-up opportunities for Trizano. But the thing about the time he got taken down, it was a little bit concerning, was against Luis Pena. I forget what round it was, but he got taken down and kind of controlled, and Pena got his back. But the thing about Dawson is he'll take your back a little bit, but not really. He's more of a lay in your guard type of guy. And usually whenever you hold Trizano down for significant periods, it's not by laying in his guard. That's whenever he can work his get-ups. It's by maybe getting his back in. That was only one time, Trizano, so it's not like a huge red flag, him giving up his back. And Pena's good at kind of trapping people by taking their back. But I'm just saying, like, that's like kind of the intricacy I saw in Trizano actually being able to get held down. But I don't think Dawson really has that back-taking ability in his tool set. I just don't. Another reason why I think Trizano will be able to get up here is Dawson doesn't stay chest to chest. He postures up to land strikes, and that's just going to create scrambling opportunities for Trizano. And Trizano doesn't like to accept bottom positions, so when Dawson starts posturing up, he'll literally stand up, and that's kind of a red flag if you're relying on a guy like Dawson to win via top control. He postures up too much, and that's just going to give Trizano even more opportunities to get up. And those are kind of the main things as I see for the path to victory for Dawson, and why I think it will be resisted is: one, he doesn't stay chest to chest. Two, he likes to lay in guard, and that's generally a thing that doesn't give Trizano trouble, and that's when Trizano can get his get-ups going. And three, Dawson shoots too wide, so I think Trizano's just going to catch underhooks and pivot off the fence and just get away. And then, so that's kind of the first topic I wanted to talk about, the path to victory for Dawson. And I think, although it's possible, I think it's kind of low percentage. And when you wrap up all the other advantages that Trizano has, which I'm going to go over now, I think Trizano is an easy play here. But here's the advantages Trizano has, like outside of just kind of him being able to defend the grappling, is he is a way better striker. I mean, Trizano, he'll throw leg kicks, he'll throw uppercuts, and one thing I saw against his Pena fight is, actually it's two things. One, I was a little concerned at first of he was kind of waiting for Pena and wasn't really like putting a stamp on rounds, but I think it was just actually good game planning, because if he would have gotten in Pena's range and kind of poured on more volume, I think that's where Pena wanted him, but instead Trizano stayed on the outside and just sniped him with leg kicks. If your strategy, and his strategy was to do that, was so he didn't have to come into Pena's range because he was at a reach advantage, but Pena doesn't throw leg kicks, so Trizano could actually, even though he's like the kind of shorter guy, he was actually able to dictate the range because he was throwing leg kicks and Pena wasn't. And that's why I think he was a little uneventful with pulling the trigger on some strikes, because he knew he could just stand away and land leg kicks and score points that way. But against Gunther, and Dawson is similar to Gunther in many ways in the striking, is that Dawson's probably a little better of a striker, but they're both green and just move forward with no striking defense. And I love the way Trizano looked in this fight as far as countering, and he's super accurate, and he'll butcher you with leg kicks. And Dawson against Orosa got landed with like 4 leg kicks, and most of the leg kicks actually dropped Dawson. So if Trizano throws like a high proportion of leg kicks compared to his other strikes. If Trizano's going to land some heavy leg kicks here, and he's got brutal leg kicks, and I think he's going to score some points that way as well. So I think I think the leg kicks and the fact that he's just way, way more of a polished striker than Dawson. And at first I didn't know if Trizano could like really fight going backwards or take advantage of countering, and he totally can. Like, I love the way he looked versus Gunther, and I think he's going to piece up Dawson on the feet. And for the reasons I said before, I think he can mostly nullify the game of Dawson of being able to kind of sprawl and brawl or get back up if he does get taken down, and then be able to put stamp on rounds even if he gets taken down by outstriking Dawson throughout the fight. A couple other things. So those are the kind of two main topics I talked about. Was first the path to victory for Dawson and why I think it's the lower percentage, although possible. And two, the advantages that Trizano has striking, which I talked about. He can counter strike, and he's way more defensively sound too. And his leg kicks are going to land. And Trizano is just going to light him up with straight punches and uppercuts too, in my opinion, whenever Dawson's coming forward. But the last topic I want to talk about is just a few other just like random miscellaneous advantages that I like for Trizano. Is Trizano, I actually think he might be able to get takedowns on Dawson here. I think Trizano's offensive wrestling is really fucking good. In the flashes that I've seen it on Giannetti, I've seen it against Gunther. When he actually takes a shot and decides to take you down, he has really good takedowns. I don't know if he wrestled like growing up, but he's super well schooled there. I'm like generally pretty impressed by him. And a guy like Dawson, who's offensively minded as a wrestler, you can usually catch that person with takedowns of your own by an element of surprise. We saw John Jones just like against Alexander Gustafsson. Jones just didn't think he could get taken down because in his mind he was a better wrestler, and he kind of didn't give Gustafsson respect. And Gustafsson was able to get a takedown, and I think the gap of Jones and Gustafsson in the wrestling is way greater than Dawson and Trizano. I actually think Trizano might be the better wrestler here, although Dawson might get more takedowns because he goes for them more. I think Trizano can land takedowns by the element of surprise too, so that's like another thing that I like for Trizano. And Trizano also has good cardio too. I don't think like Dawson, a lot of his win against Arosa was kind of breaking Arosa as it went on, but Trizano's just still going to be there. He's got really good cardio and he can fight everywhere. And I think he's just gonna be able to stop what Dawson does with the wrestling and be able to take advantage in other areas and win a pretty clear decision here and maybe finish him. I think Dawson will get takedowns, like I said, but I just don't think he wins at the implied odds. So let's take a look at what the implied odds are. So Trizano's minus 130. That's an implied probability of 56%. So I think this fight is I think that Trizano wins about 6 to 7 out of 10. Like a solid amount. So I cap him around minus 200, around like a 66% implied odds. So I think we get a 10% advantage on the bookies on the current line. And the line's actually been moving to Dawson. And I might put more on Trizano if the line improves. I probably will, because I'm pretty confident he wins about 6 or 7 out of 10. And I think he has a lot more ways to win this fight. Like Dawson pretty much just needs to get top time, and I think it's going to be tough for him. And Trizano can outstrike him. I think he can get top time himself, and I think he can just kind of outclass him, maybe even get a sub. And I think he just has way more ways to win, and I think the odds are currently off. I think he wins this at a higher rate, and I think he's worth the play. Like I said, whenever you get like a 10% advantage on the bookies, I think it's like a moderate play. I think you got to go about 2 units or so. So it'll be a moderate play for me. I think you start max betting once it gets to that like 16% or higher type of range. That's whenever you kind of start going in a little heavier. But around 10%, I like a solid like 2 unit play. And let's just take advantage of the lines. Can Dawson win? Yeah, I think it's possible, but we're playing percentages here. And that's how this game works, and this is how you win money in the long term. So I think Trizano wins this fight. But thank you so much. I'm going to send a final thoughts video out tomorrow, and I'll kind of cover the rest of the fights on that card from a more general sense, and not as detailed as this one. But still, I'll be able to at least kind of talk about the fights in general. So thanks so much, guys. Bye.